This is Joy News Prime.
You can only get this on Joy News Prime. 2 hours of compelling news content with all you need to know on all fronts from Accra through the Caribbean and across Europe on the ABN channel 235. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Coming up shortly, police in collaboration with BNI arrest prime suspect in the murder of Ubuakwa North Member of Parliament, JB Dankwedu. Meanwhile, Joy News investigations reveal the suspect, who is an ex-convict, was arrested upon a tip-off from some members of Parliament. Minority in Parliament is accusing government of bloating the GNPC ENI Sankofa gas deal to over $3 billion, alleging the extra money is being used to pay kickback.
And in business, National Communications Authority rules out termination of the Telecoms Interconnect Clearinghouse contract despite allegations of fraud in the process.
Also in the bulletin, we will let you into the unscrupulous activities of land guards in some parts of Accra. Details plus sports, entertainment, your views on trending issues as well as international stories coming up in 2 hours. Thanks so much for your time. Now, one person has been arrested after he attempted to cause confusion at Tafo in the Ashanti region. It is unclear what the suspect did exactly, but sources say he and other accomplices allegedly fired gunshots in the area.
The suspects were pursued by security officers, but one was arrested while the accomplices managed to escape. Police are holding him for interrogation to trace other accomplices on the run. Meanwhile, family of the deceased 29-year-old Hamisu Suleiman is saddened by the circumstances that led to the death of their son. Mother of the deceased, Asamawu Umar, spoke to Joy News.
I heard
he was shot and rushed to the Tafo Government Hospital. He later died. My son is not a thief. He has not stolen before. All I want is the body for burial. We believe it is the will of Allah, so we have nothing to say. I have prayed for him to rest in peace.
Cousin of the deceased tells Joy News she is disappointed people are referring to her late family member as a thief.
Well, the guy is my cousin. What happened yesterday? He was never a thief. But about the incident that happened at Tafo, we were just passing by and we were not there. What we heard was that a policeman shot him on the spot and he was sent to Tafo. He's never a thief. People have been saying, we've heard it on the radio that they said he's a thief. He's never a thief. Yes. He's a hard-working boy that he was never a thief, but people have been saying that he's a thief.
Okay.
It's very sad for what an incident. In fact, we have really lost a relative, and it's very painful. Right now, he has left 3 children, 3 young boys. Right now, it's very sad for us.
We understand that it was a police officer who shot him. I mean, what do you expect the police to do?
Yes, we expect the government to come into this because he's never a thief, and we heard the policeman just shot him just like that. He's not a criminal, so the police should come in and the government should come in. We need a solution about what just happened. Yes, we need to find out what really happened.
Meanwhile, the man who was shot in the midst of the violence yesterday has been laid to rest under heavy security. Now, still related to this issue, the mayor of Kumasi, Kojo Bonsu, says the RECSEG is considering extending the curfew imposed on the area.
Yeah, definitely we're getting an extension.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, definitely. For now, till maybe Monday. But we're seeking clearance from Parliament first, because the rules and the laws. So the Ministry of Interior will give us the advice, but definitely we're going to get an emergency curfew. So we are on it.
The vice principal of the Mampo Nursing and Midwifery Training College has revealed that the policeman who shot a tutor at the school and his brother responding to an SOS call from a friend did not send the victims to hospital right away after the incident. Mercy Boku, addressing a press conference at the school today, said the police rather took the two brothers to the charge office before proceeding to the hospital.
Instead of agreeing and sending him to the hospital, rather said they have to send them, Meme and the brother, to the charge office before sending them to the hospital. Then they drove off. Around 5 a.m., a tutor received a call from another tutor that a nurse at the hospital had called him and told him that tutor Meme, the victim, was seriously sick and had been rushed to the hospital. The two tutors and another male tutor went to the casualty unit of the Mampo Municipal Hospital and saw the dead body of the victim.
The vice principal is calling on the acting IGP to institute an independent investigation into the matter.
The purpose of this press briefing is not to inflate passion and raise tension, but to clarify issues and call on the IGP to take this matter serious. We ask for an independent investigation team to thoroughly look into this matter. We strongly believe that on this particular occasion, if the police were a little more professional, this incident wouldn't have happened. We seek for justice and will follow this matter to its logical conclusion.
Let's take a break on Joy News Prime. We're back with more. This is Joy News Prime. Now to the rest of our stories. A man suspected to be the prime suspect in the killing of the Boakwa North MP Joseph Boache Dankwedu has reportedly confessed to committing the crime. A source at the Regional Police Command told Joy News the suspect, whose identity is being protected for now, confessed to police interrogators he stabbed the late Member of Parliament. Now, 3 mobile phones were retrieved, 2 of them confirmed to belong to the slain MP. The 3rd phone, according to Joy News sources, is password protected. Joining me in the studio is news editor Jefa Bampo, who is also head of our security desk here at Joy News. Good evening, Jefa. What more information do we have on this prime suspect?
What we know for now is that he will be interrogated fully at the BNI offices, and that is where I am being told by sources that he is being held. That's where the main interrogation will be done. Now, he is mentioned 2 other people alleged to be accomplices or who were also part of the plan to allegedly kill the MP. The police are not confirming if they've arrested these 2 people he has mentioned, but they will be looking into that as well. What we do know from this gentleman is that he says he did it. As to why is, I guess, the million-dollar question. Nobody is able, for now, to say why he
committed such crime.
Yes.
But have the police, have they mentioned anything, I mean, apart from this scanty information? I mean, why he did it, we don't know. But was there some other person who actually contracted him? We're told he's part of the Justice for All people who were released.
Yeah, these are, okay, so step by step. When it comes to him as a person. Remember, the police put out a release saying that people should be on the watch out for suspicious characters, particularly hospitals, about someone who may have had a knife wound of any sort. Sources are telling us that he has a cut of a sort, because you know that we're told that the late MP struggled with whoever tried to attack him. Now, there's a picture also going round of the suspect. We've confirmed that, yes, it is indeed him. We are told that also that he's an ex-convict. We've not fully confirmed that, I must say, from the justice system, because we don't know his name, we don't know how old he is, we don't know where he lives or where he was arrested, his hideout. So if you have that kind of information, then you can confirm as well whether he was truly with the Justice for All Pro. So these are all just snippets of information we are getting, still working on confirming that aspect of the information, but it's linked to information that we were getting from Parliament through our colleague and correspondent from Parliament, Elton John Brobe, who said that he's getting information from high sources in Parliament who suggest that somebody in prison reported to the MP that he had heard that this was happening. They just didn't know who the target was, and so they know this gentleman from prison. So it seems to kind of corroborate the other information we are getting on the security desk, that this gentleman was with the Justice for All program, but it's not fully confirmed yet. Many thanks to you, Jifa Bampo, for that information. We can now listen to our parliamentary correspondent Elton Brobe, who reports that the tip-off leading to the arrest of the prime suspect in police custody came from some members of Parliament.
Confidential information provided me by some members of Parliament suggests that indeed the tip-off came from some members of Parliament to the police, and this particular member of Parliament was quite instrumental in providing what the police used in eventually apprehending the suspect, which confessed to the killing of this member of Parliament. Now, what I've been told is that this particular member of Parliament had a relationship with somebody who knew this particular suspect. So prior to planning to assassinate the member of Parliament, this particular person was in the know, but unfortunately he was not told the target until news of the member of Parliament came to public knowledge. Now, when this matter became an issue of national concern, this person went to this MP and narrated what he heard before the murder. So Parliament, some members of Parliament met some operatives of national security. This particular information was provided them, and based on it, they were able to apprehend this particular person who is now behind bars. They, at some point, served time with this particular suspect who is behind bars at the police. So they've been in a relationship before. This whole planning, he got to know, but he didn't know the target until the member of Parliament was announced dead. So he went back to this particular member of Parliament, told him about what he heard before the assassination, and this member of Parliament went to police to give them this information, which led to the arrest of this person at his hideout.
Mewa Minister-designate for the Interior, Prosper Douglas Bani, has described as porous and dangerous security of members of Parliament, but says he will fix that situation if given the approval by the House to serve in that capacity. The former Chief of Staff's comments come in the wake of calls by members of Parliament to be provided with adequate security in conformity with their conditions of service following the gruesome murder of the MP for Ibuakwa North, Joseph Boache Dankwedu.
The former Chief of Staff, who for many years worked with the United Nations on security matters, says Ghana's MPs are not safe even within Parliament, but says he will work with the leadership of the House to ensure improved security for the legislature.
I have driven into this house or this compound several times. On no occasion has anyone stopped my vehicle, checked my vehicle, and asked me where I am going to. This morning I drove into this compound on 2 occasions. I drove up to the entrance to Job 600, turned around, and went to my holding place to prepare. No one asked me anything. I think that if given the opportunity to serve, one of the first actions I will take is to work with leadership to secure Parliament House.
Mr. Bani also spoke about his plans to address the many increasing murders in the country. He is, however, hopeful provision of appropriate equipment and improvement in the human resource department of the police service will enhance security. He says he will also collaborate with the media and other stakeholders to ensure tension generated by media discussions ahead of the elections is minimized. He assured adequate security and protection for Ghanaians before, during and after the 2016 election.
Political parties who are contesting elections will have to be engaged on the security apparatus and strategies for election day and before elections, during and beyond, so that we are all informed about actions to take when there is a threat to the security of our electoral process. If given the opportunity, I will ensure that I work very hard and to guarantee that our elections in 2016 will be one that voters can walk to their polling stations aware that they are safe.
Still in Parliament, the minority is raising red flags over the Ghana National Petroleum Authority $7 billion Sankofa Jubilee gas exploration and production agreement with the ENI Group. Speaking at a news conference Thursday morning, the group alleges the contract is over-bloated by between $2 to $3 billion, which, in their estimation, is being used as payment for kickbacks to government.
Parliament, under a certificate of urgency last year, approved the GNPC-ENI deal, which will enable ENI start oil production from the estimated 130 million oil reserve, as well as a further 1.5 trillion cubic feet of natural gas from the Sankofa Jinyami fields from the first quarter of 2017. Government, in a statement last week, rubbished a statement from the NPP on the same subject during the visit of the Italian Prime Minister. But addressing a news conference in Parliament Thursday, member of the Energy Committee, William Urekuedu, said the deal in its present state is bad for the country.
A critical appraisal of the term sheets and terms and conditions of the agreement reveal a horror tale of poor negotiations. The terms are skewed against Ghana whilst the contractors benefit. The incentives offered to the ENI and the Vitol neither obtained in other previous local agreements nor in similar international transactions. It is difficult to fathom the considerations that went into this agreement, which by every standard is skewed, shoddy and appalling. The negotiators for the state perhaps did not have the requisite competence to deal with the contractors. It is safe to also conclude, given the enormity of the matter, that some corruption might have influenced the negotiators to enter into such a bad agreement. Any of these does not exonerate the government nor GNPC from blame. The government stroke GNPC on one side and ENI Vitol agreement simply stinks, and it is difficult to comprehend why government negotiators would subject Ghana to such a raw deal.
Mr. Edu is also warning the agreement, which will make gas produced by the ENI in Ghana expensive, may compel Nigeria to increase cost of gas to the country.
GNPC is required to offtake 90% of the total quantity of gas produced by the contractors at a guaranteed price of $9.8 per British thermal unit, that is MMBTU. Nigeria's gas to Ghana is about $9 per MMBTU. After it has been transported over a distance of 670 kilometers. This price of $9.8 per MMBTU is guaranteed over a 20-year project, that is the Sankofa Jinyami project. The 9.8 price per standard measure excludes transport costs over the 63 kilometers distance that this particular gas will travel. If cost of transportation is added, the price per MMBTU is estimated at about $12, and this makes the gas to be produced in Ghana the most expensive in the world. The tragedy of the agreement is that there is no flexibility. Say, for example, for a review of price downwards in the event of the collapse of world gas price. Minister Ama admits that the Sankofa field gas per the agreement is $9.8 per MMBTU, but insists that if GNPC made some interventions, it would bring the price down by as much as 1.65 per MMBTU. That is, the price could climb down to 8.16. That's if you remove the 1.65 from the 9.8. The issue is what intervention does the GNPC make in production of Nigeria gas, and yet we procure gas delivered from Nigeria to Ghana at a cost of $9, less than the headline cost of gas from Sankofa, which is 9.8 per MMBTU.
Information available to Joy News indicate that the government of Ghana is scheduled to meet with authorities in Togo to arrange the return of some Bunkrugu natives seeking refuge in Togo. The residents have sought refuge in the neighboring town as a result of a conflict in their hometown and are struggling to survive. With the support of the Togolese government, the residents and their families have been reduced to living on 5 bowls of maize a month provided by authorities every month. Joseph Namlet-Bois is the MP for the area and has been speaking on the matter with Joy News' Francis Aben.
For us to sit together and see that, no, now this thing is eating us up. Let's try and see how we can come together as one family, do what we call this blood barrier. Once we bury the blood, then the people that are all over the place in terms of minus Bunkrugu wanting to come back, they will have the confidence to come back, and then they will live together in peace.
Have you made this suggestion before, and what was the response?
No, I think that this is not something that is new. I believe that everybody knows very well that this is something that is very important. You recall some few days ago, the presidential candidate of the PNC, Dr. Adiwale Mama, was also there. Yeah. It was the same song he sang to the people. And the people, I want to believe that I've seen that there's the need for them to bury, to ensure that they bury the hatch hit and for us to come together to solve this problem once and for all. Because if we keep, I've said that we can fight each other 100 times. We cannot get solution to the problem. What is important is to dialogue. So I want to use this opportunity to call on all the intellectuals from the Bunkrugu land, whether from Jamong family, whether from Jafok family, whether from any other clan, that we need everybody's voice.
Still on the Bunkrugu violence, the Jamong family, one of the claimants to the Bunkrugu skin, is accusing the police of aiding the other party, Jafong, in causing atrocities to their members. Now, the Jamong family wants the acting IGP to investigate the matter. Spokesperson for the Jamong family, Andrew Lohman, claims Chief of Jafong, Abu Nyasoman, has hired gunmen to attack Bunkrugu police station so they can have access to wipe out the Jamong family. He made these allegations at a news conference in Accra.
Why should they arrest people who were seeking refuge at the police station while they were burning their houses? Arrested them and took them to Tamale, and yet those who killed and murdered are working till now. We are waiting on what the IGP is going to do. He's working on it. We are waiting, but we want to let Ghanaians know, because you are the media, and the police PLO in Tamale comes out to lie to the media. He came on air and said that the 2 boys who were killed, their death was unrelated to the chieftaincy clashes. Now, according to him, it is an intelligence they gathered. So the intelligence you gathered should also lead to the arrest of the murderers. Have they done that? No. The regent was killed in front of the daughter, in presence of school children and the market women. Together, they've gone to report. Have they arrested them? No. We have requested that the regional command and the district command, they are biased, and something should be done about them. We wish they are even transferred from there. They are part of the criminalities going on in Bunkrugu. Away
from Bunkrugu, now schools in Fuveme are Teti and Gbogbo, all in the Volta region, have been closed down following the devastating effect of tidal waves that hit the island communities on Tuesday. About 50 houses have been submerged by the sea and properties destroyed. Displaced residents are pleading with government to come to their aid as soon as possible so they can get back to their normal lives. The assemblyman for the area, Oswald Echi-Pojo, in an interview with Joy News said the situation is very bad and needs urgent attention. A founding member of the National Democratic Party and former First Lady Nana Akufo-Addo Emmanuel has bemoaned the state of security in the country. She says the rise in violence, crimes and murders raises doubts about the ability of the state to protect the lives and property of its citizenry.
Friends of Nana Akufo-Addo Emmanuel, FONCA, relaunched in Accra to strategically place the former First Lady ahead of the November 2016 polls. Mrs. Emmanuel's comments came following the gruesome stabbing of the Member of Parliament for Ebuakwa South at his home at Shiashi in Accra. Nana Akufo-Addo reminded government that one of its responsibilities to citizens for taxes paid is to provide adequate security.
It is for these reasons that we pay taxes, so that our taxes can be used to pay the police and the security agencies so that they protect us. In as much as we cannot have one policeman per Ghanaian, and therefore we need to have a certain sense of responsibility as individuals, we also need to know that we are safe with our police, we are safe with our military, we are safe in our country. But if individuals will go on TV and radio and say that every individual should protect themselves instead of pointing a finger at somebody else, that leaves much to be desired. We should all look after our security, yes, but there's also a sense of desperation and despondency that we should not allow to happen in this country. We should try and lessen the level of despondency and the level of desperation, because it leads to fear, and fear then manifests itself into something else, you know. So it's very, very important that we feel secure, whether in our homes or on our roads or where we work. It's very important. The only way is to let us know that, yes, you are in charge of us. You are in charge of our country. We have security because you are giving it to us. You've got to give us security, even as we take care of our own security as individuals.
Nana Akufo-Addo Emmanuel, who is seeking to lead Ghana on the ticket of the NDP, is expected to contest in the November polls after the Electoral Commission disallowed her in 2012 because she failed to complete the required processes for her to contest.
We'll be back with the business news. Time now for business on Joy News Prime, and Emmanuel Abwajiria here with the very latest. Emmanuel, what is the NCA saying about the AfriWave contract, sir?
Well, simply, the NCA held a press conference this afternoon to debunk allegations by Imani Ghana, which has questioned, you know, the propriety of that, or the base for which that contract was given to AfriWave to become an interconnect clearinghouse. They are saying that the NCA is now saying that it was done according to
and so there's no way they can overturn
that contract. That's it.
So let's hear what they said more.
Thank you very much.
Press conference.
You're welcome to Joy Business. The National Communications Authority, NCA, says it will be impossible to overturn the Telecoms Interconnect Clearinghouse contract. This is in response to calls by policy think tank Imani Ghana, which alleged the bidding process for the contract was flawed. Director General of the NCA, William Tevi, was addressing a press conference today in Accra.
According to Imani Ghana, the selection process was fraudulent and AfriWave was unduly favored in the bidding process to win the contract. The think tank therefore wants the contract reviewed, the selection process recommenced, as well as the NCA board dissolved. But Addressing a press conference today, Director General of NCA William Tevi said suggestions that AfriWave was unduly favored in the selection process are regrettable and misleading. He explained, citing initial challenges with the transfer of the scores from Excel to Microsoft Word.
We clarify what happened specifically with the award of the points in the various areas of the license application evaluation process. And as we indicated in our earlier response, that the AEP in the preparation of the report transferred the scores from Excel to Microsoft Word. They then noticed that there were some errors with regard to the scores, in which situation the errors were corrected and there are verifiable correspondences to that effect.
Mr. Tevi adds the contract process cannot be overturned, insisting AfriWave legitimately won the contract after due diligence.
Another view was shared that the process employed must be dissolved and a new one instituted. To this, the NCA says no. In our opinion, they stated that view as a result of the fact that they were not privy to the entire licensing process, and this is a process which was documented and verified at every stage. As far as the final report is concerned, the NCA firmly states that due diligence was employed throughout the process.
The Interconnect Clearinghouse is the central platform through which all forms of communications, including voice calls and internet, will pass before terminated on the various networks.
Now, the Ghana Mine Workers Union is demanding an immediate and unconditional reinstatement of the state security detail at the mining concessions of Anglo Gold Ashanti, Obuasi, and others threatened by the activities of illegal miners. This follows last weekend's clashes between some Anglo Gold workers and illegal miners, which led to the death of the company's corporate affairs manager, John Owusu. The union has condemned this act and wants government to do more in tackling the Galamsey menace. Also, the General Secretary of the Ghana Mine Workers Union, Prince William Ankra, joins us on the line to clarify their position. Thank you for joining us, Prince. What exactly are you expecting government to do, and have you given any timelines?
Yeah, good evening, brother. It's all about the fact that, Obuasi remains a major asset to our dear country. Given a historical sort of financial muscle that Obuasi has done to the economy, we cannot allow a situation where, because of a source of livelihood, we allow the Galamsey to take things for granted and government become an onlooker. Virtually, our concern that, look, this is a major asset and we have members there. The township is great to everybody. We want to see the township keep looking fluid. So it's only fair that as a nation, our soldiers, interestingly, have been around all this while. Thank God we've not had any war situation. So they have the energy to go out there and make sure that they apply the brakes. They were there suddenly, they were asked to leave for a reason that one cannot tell. So what that was that to an extent a bad situation, and the implication is what we all saw when we lost a great colleague and a brother who have worked there all this while. So it's a major issue to within the area. Government rethink what it did, the better it is for our dear country, because we know that if foreign investors begin to see Obuasi as arguably a security threat area to put in their money. Let's face it, we all saw what happened to Rangoon when they to a different time because they don't fit into investment criteria. So if we don't keep the place cool and create enablers that will attract someone else to come with the money, obviously they will take over the mine, and that will be the end of one state township, and obviously this major asset will be in the wrong hands. So it's important that we deal with it, promptly.
Now, Prince, is the union giving any timeline or deadline for this action to be taken by the security detail?
Yeah, we think that actually it's a signal for any responsible government to realize that, look, it's a very complex issue. So the action that actually, given the fact that it's a security threat, they will see the need to act totally, because for us, we believe that, look, any action, it could go to a start withdrawing labor across the mining concessions countrywide, with a view to signal that, look, we'll not stay where we work. If Obuasi cannot be safer for us to be at work, how do we expect Nemo, Takwa, and others to stay on course, So we deliberately left that open. We think that it's very important that as a responsible government, they show concern that they care for the people who live in Obuasi. They care for the fact that mine should bounce back and dole out money into our struggling economy, So we just let that loose. I would think that if they don't listen to us, obviously we'll bear our teeth.
Now, you're also expressing worry about what your union deems as a lackadaisical attitude by government in dealing with the Galamsey menace. Could there be any special reason why the state security detail pulled out of the mines again this time?
Yeah, the reality is that, we've all seen this in many years. It really comes over and we end up with a short-termist approach in confront the issue. Basically, what that means is that, well, if people know that, look, you don't have any long-term strategy, they will still take things for granted. So the idea that, look, as a government, you've got to have a long-term solution. We know that it's a job opening, a job creation opportunity for people to make a source of livelihood. But we all know that they are mining our water bodies and also, do all kinds of things that inhibit our pace, to really get the money to do other things that the state would like to do. Water bodies are becoming very bad, and it costs the water companies to really spend a lot of money to really treat water for potable drinking. And these are things now, obviously, if government take the issue seriously and begin to look for a long-term solution, the rest of that is the law constrain them that don't do A, B, C, and D. So if you and I could be taken on by what we would do by law, how come that we just lean on the fact that because it's a source of livelihood, let's begin the chance to do our own thing. So we think that government might show leadership. And as long as government remain very strong and resolute and apply the law to the letter, they will sit up.
Okay, thank you very much for your time. Prince William Ankra is the General Secretary of the Ghana Mine Workers Union. Now, moving away, ongoing developments on the Jubilee and Trinidad Enyira and Tome 10 oil fields will not be affected despite cuts in funding for infrastructural projects. That is the assurance from Tullow Oil PLC. The exploration firm yesterday announced cuts in its budget for capital expenditure. The budget for this year is now $900 million, whilst that for 2017 is $300 million. However, Tullow says the about $600 million allocated for the 10 projects, Ghana's second biggest oil firm, will not be affected. Chief Executive of Tullow Oil, Aidan Havey, has been speaking about this and other issues with investors in London.
We had a big program, which was the 10 project, and the key thing there is to make sure that you have loads of flexibility and headroom in your debt when you're building up debt on a major project. And the team did a very good job in our negotiations with the banks and making sure that we had proper headroom and flexibility. And we cemented that with the strong hedging position. I think we've one of the best hedging positions in the industry. But I think we're in pretty good shape. The key thing for us in the first half of the year, and a big step change, is going to be when 10 comes on stream. So a big focus of attention was to make sure that we had no overruns in 10, that it was on time and on budget. We're pretty happy with where we are there with it. But also, as we said, we needed as much flexibility as possible within our debt position to make sure that if anything did go wrong with a major project, that we could cope with them. And that was one of the main reasons that we built up the debt position that we were in. However, once 10 is completed, our CapEx, a chunk of our CapEx programs are finished and our commitments are finished. So we can look at a situation after 10 where we're cash flow positive in the fourth quarter of this year.
Now, second year running recorded a loss in its operations. Its profits stood at $1 billion compared to the $1.6 billion posted in 2014. The current developments have affected its share price, which declined by 6 pesos yesterday and is now worth 27 Ghana cedis, 93 pesos. And with that, we go to the stock market, where John is standing by as usual to give us updates of the stock market. John, did the Tullow, the crisis in Tullow, has it affected in any way the share price?
Exactly. So like I always say, these things are watched and closely monitored by shareholders and almost all stakeholders around. I did indicate here yesterday that Tullow lost almost about 6 pesos. That's quite significant. That, not here alone. I think in London, it also did lose some value also there. So I think globally, tallow is suffering from some of these things going on. But today, the exchange recorded some significant improvement after recording about over 2 million volume of transaction, totaling a value of about 366,000. That's quite good. If you look at Monday till yesterday, we've not seen such volumes of transactions on the bourse. So this is quite significant for investors, of course, for the market, bringing total market capitalization to about 57, an increment of almost around 0.11%. That is quite significant for the market, even though the size of the market is not that big. So that is it for the market. And year on year, we are seeing the CI, that's a composite index, recording about 0.21% in the positive. That's quite significant as well. And of course, these are the various equities which help the market to grow at that level. We saw CAR almost returning 1 peswa to their investors. Societe Generale also did so, 1 peswa. Standard Chartered Bank, unfortunately, lost, after adding some value, lost 1 peswa to it. And then UT Bank also lost 1 peswa each. So that's exactly what it is. But the commodities market, there's something interesting happening. Okay, the quest for Saudi Arabia and Iran to claim their shares of the market is really bringing oil prices down. As we speak now, sweet crude is, it's actually selling under $27 per barrel. But then the Brent is recording 30. And there's all indications, there are indications that Brent will also going to come down. So probably by the end of next week, we should see Brent also, dropping below the $30 per barrel mark.
Going to be basically a glut on the market.
Naturally, yes. Some analysts are projecting a glut in the system. But of course, for you and I, we should be happy, because we are consumers officially. We are consumers and we are fine out. So I think that is exactly affecting. Of course, when we get to the currencies, still the CD is not really trading very well against major currencies. Today, it lost again to the US dollar, the British pound, the euro, and the Chinese yuan. Because in the morning, it was trading quite competitive. But as we speak, or before we came to studio, the CD is really not, it's losing to almost all of them. So basically, I think we should start do as much as possible, do everything possible to make sure the macroeconomic indicators, which really make some of these things stronger, really grow, especially the private sector, the ability to export and for generate some foreign exchange. We should try as much as possible to do that.
Dollars.
We need that. We need that. You need almost about 3 Ghana cedis, 84 pesos to do that, basically. That's exactly it.
Thank you very much.
So that's been the market, yes.
Thank you very much for that update. John Amwakon is our stock market analyst, and he ends tonight's package of the business segment. My name is Emmanuel Apwaji. We have more news coming up.
Welcome back to Joy News Prime. Now to the rest of our stories. The Energy Commission is asking Menkish Impex Limited, importers of legacy freezers, to, as a matter of urgency, pull back any legacy freezers sold to customers or face the full rigors of the law. According to the Commission, the LGYF 100 freezers have failed the needed test and do not meet the energy standards, though Menkish Impex has made some announcements in the dailies asking customers to return freezers for a refund. Head of Energy Efficiency at the Commission, Kofi Ejako, says the defaulting company has until April to recall the energy deficient freezers.
Energy Commission has an arrangement with all the importers in order to facilitate trade and to also not to congest the airport. We request that the importers come with a third-party test report covering the appliance that they are importing. So when the test report accompanying the consignment is submitted, we give the importer the benefit of the doubt, and we allow the importer to clear the goods pending our verification. With the case in point, when we subjected the sample to test at our laboratory here, it failed woefully. It means that it is energy inefficient. It does not even measure up to the entry point. It's way below the standards as set by Ghana Standards Authority. So under no circumstance can such appliance be admitted onto our market. And that is why we have directed that the company involved, that is Menkish Impex, should place a public notice in the dailies asking all consumers who have bought those appliances to return them for full refund of their money. And it behoves on us as the regulator to ensure that the market is free from substandard appliances so that consumers do not buy them to their disadvantage. Between now and the next 3 months, they need to pull back all the appliances that they have already sold into the market so that they can re-export them.
Attempts by Joy News to get a response from Menkish Impex have proved futile as calls to the company have not been answered. To other news, we'll take a break on Joy News Prime. We'll be back shortly. Time now to look at what will be happening in the interactive segment, and Lord Edward Harris is here. Hello, Lord.
Good evening, Aisha.
What's your lineup for tonight?
Well, a prime suspect in the killing of the Iwakwa North MP, Joseph Boachi Dankwa Edu, has reportedly confessed to committing the crime. Also, with the growing cases of conflicts between some locals and Fulani herdsmen, how do you think the situation can be resolved?
We sacrifice selves to transport them back to their place so that we too have our peace in our country.
Now, do you sleep naked?
Yes, I do. I don't know, it's just to feel free. Besides, we came naked, so you're going back naked.
No, I don't. I'm not comfortable with it. I mean, I like it when I sleep on shorts. And
Okay, so when I return within the hour, I'll tell you why you should probably consider sleeping naked henceforth. And then I'll be taking all your comments on the other trending issues. This is the Joy News Interactive segment, and I'll be back within the hour.
So Lord will be back within the hour with more on the interactive segment. We'll be back shortly.
What is pneumococcal meningitis? It is an infection that causes swelling and irritation or inflammation of the membranes covering the brain and spinal cord. It is caused by the Streptococcus pneumonia bacteria. Bacteria is spread through coughing and sneezing. It can also be transmitted through kissing or using anything that has come into contact with the mouth of an infected person. Signs and symptoms include severe headache, fever, vomiting, stiff necks, coughs, and chills. How to avoid pneumococcal meningitis? Avoid overcrowding. Drink enough water to prevent dryness of throat. Avoid sharing things that come into contact with the mouth. What after effects can pneumococcal meningitis cause? Brain damage, learning disabilities, and deafness.
Welcome back. Time now to look at stories making headlines, and police in collaboration with BNI arrest prime suspect in the murder of Iwakwa North Member of Parliament, JB Dankwa Edu. Meanwhile, Joy News investigations reveal the suspect, who is an ex-convict, was arrested upon a tip-off from some members of Parliament. Minority in Parliament is, however, accusing government of bloating the GNPC ENI Sankofa gas deal to over $3 billion, alleging the extra money is being used to pay kickbacks. In business, National Communications Authority rules out termination of the Telecoms Interconnect Clearinghouse contract despite allegations of fraud in the process. Let's do more on Joy News Prime. Now, the operations of land guards in Ghana appear to have died down in recent months. Perhaps this can be attributed to a crackdown on their activities. But Joy News investigations have revealed that land grabbers continue to engage the services of these unscrupulous individuals to forcibly claim lands and inflict harm on their opponents. Now, litigants blame the slow pace of justice delivery at the courts for the phenomenon. In the following story, Joy News' Latif Idris reports land grabbing is still rife in the national capital.
Land guards are typically heavily built armed men who are positioned on disputed lands to protect the interests of their paymasters. They are usually ruthless in dealing with people who pick up disputes with them on land issues. In extreme cases, they kill or maim anyone who stands in their way in their quest to meet the targets set for them. Even though there is no clear-cut law on their operation, land guards continue to operate, causing harm to individuals who challenge them on land ownership. One of such unfortunate one is Hetty Houston. On January 6 this year, Hetty escaped with injuries after she was attacked on a family land at East Legon. She recounted her experience on that fateful day as she shows me the blood-stained dress she wore that day. She escaped with a broken arm and has undergone 37 stitches at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital.
There were 2 white men, 1 black man. So I walked towards the 2 white men and I said to the white man, 1 white man, I said, "Excuse me, do you know who the property belonged to?" He just turned his face and said, "Oh, all I saw was somebody from behind shouting." I didn't hear the word, with a garden fork with behind. So as I turned to see what was going on behind me, shouting, he had just reached me, lifted the garden fork, hitting me with the garden fork, regardless where my body was. I took it with my hand. So my hand broke the first out. My first bone came out, gushing with blood.
Perpetrators of the crime are walking free because the law is yet to catch up with them. Whilst on the disputed land in East Legon, these 2 individuals showed up.
It's okay, but in the future, if you are here covering information.
One of them, according to this caretaker, was among the group that assaulted Hetty.
Upon reaching here, the woman told those gathered here to leave the premises and that she was the owner of the parcel of land. The land guard and a certain Alhaji approached her and hit her on the arm 3 times. Upon intervening on her behalf, they hit me too.
It appears justice is eluding the victim, whose land is being forcibly taken away. But Public Relations Officer of the Criminal Investigative Department, ASP Joseph Benefo Dakwa, says the police is on the trail of the criminals.
There was the need to move to the CID headquarters, not like taking it completely from them, but to also to assist and then make sure we hasten investigation.
Is it a high-profile case?
Certainly, it's a high-profile case.
What makes this case a high-profile case?
When you look at the extent of damage and harm caused, it makes it a high-profile case.
So, you said you are going to court on the 10th of February?
Yes, right now the only thing that we are waiting for is the medical report. We've finished with investigation, and there is enough evidence against for us to go to court against the accused. So we have prepared the charge sheet. We are only waiting for the medical report, which the doctor has assured us that on the 10th it will be ready.
Have you gotten a word from the accused as to why he perpetrated?
Well, these are not for public consumption. It's for the police.
The few lucky ones end up in court where they hope to get redress. Joy News investigations at the registry of the Lands Court located in the new court complex in Accra revealed that more than 100 land cases are filed daily, adding up to the backlog of cases that have not been attended to. This makes the wheels of justice even slower. The slow pace, according to land litigant Emmanuel is to blame for the aggressive means adopted by litigants. He has been frequenting the court for more than a year now.
And what pains me most is maybe you construct your building to, footing level or getting to window level. When you close in the night, because you refuse to give them, they come and push the whole thing down. You come the next day and your enterprise is, not the way you expect it. So most of these things are the force of the chiefs. In terms of land guard, he will allow land guards to come and fight. It is because he's not the proper person to be installed. That is why he has, first of all, look for land guards. It's like a pastor who says he has a bodyguard. Oh, how? How should a man of God have a bodyguard when God is our guide?
Sale of plots to multiple people is also partly to blame for the aggressive path litigants adopt. Maybe the way out of this land sale mess is for government to license agencies in the various communities to be sole custodians in the sale of land.
Whilst many young people complain about growing unemployment in the country, others are creating jobs for themselves even while in school. That is the story of students at the Secondary College in the Western region. The school, at the heart of Ghana's historical town of Secondary, is teaching students modern agricultural methods using greenhouse technology that could create businesses for them. Joy News Justice Beidou has visited the project and has filed this report.
In the heart of Secondary, Ghana's Western region, a group of high school pupils are breaking new ground. This college, founded on the back of an agricultural revolution in Ghana's first republic 60 years ago, is still blazing the trail in agriculture education. From the outside, it may look really small, but this is where these young men and women are hoping to start a career even before they leave the walls of high school. Here, over 150 students of the Secondary College would come every day to learn modern ways of doing agriculture using this greenhouse technology.
We're doing all these things so that the government will see that there's importance in agriculture sector. So that it will help. When we say agriculture is the backbone of every country, and agriculture is vocational. That's why we're doing all these things to support our learning. Nowadays, those white-collar jobs is not helping us at all. But if you have this type of agriculture, it will help you to put up anything that you want to do in life. Once you have the knowledge or you have the idea of agriculture, you can do anything that you want to do in life.
The project is being implemented with support from Agriculture and Public Health Engineering Company, Dizengoff, Ghana.
Unlike where we are used to growing of crops on the ground, on the natural soil that God give to us, this is a technological kind of thing. Said that we grow plants out of the normal soil, where we have a plant medium known as the cocoa pit, and we mix it and condition such that after nursing our seeds and we get the seedlings, after some time we can plant it in the cocoa pit as you see it, in addition to other nutrients that the plant may require. Late December, we transplanted the tomatoes as you can find it, and nicely they are all growing. All things said and done, within 2 months' time, we should start harvesting.
There's an increasing interest in farming as a sustainable business venture, but the problem now is how to root that passion into a serious academic curriculum.
Ghana is predominantly an agric country, and many of our students leave the university and the secondary school campuses, and instead of trying to go into these areas, they want to seek for white-collar jobs. So we are bringing in all these modules to open the eyes, as it were, of our sister schools to also, pick agriculture as an area where the students would go out and go into.
It is an initiative that has started here with the potential of going everywhere in the country. Basekeni College is just one of several high schools in Ghana, and it will take more to scale this up for a wider impact at the national level. Justice Beidou, Joy News, Secondly.
Up next is the entertainment segment.
Entertainment news is brought to you by
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Miss G is here with the entertainment segment. Yesterday you promised me
part two
of
Yasiki's story. Exactly. So
I hope you're going to tell me that.
Sure. I don't feel when I promise. Unlike you who promised chocolate. And you're yet to deliver. Tomorrow is Friday. So I need to have my chocolate tomorrow.
Why are you running to?
Okay. So Yasiki in the second segment or in the second edition of my interview with him tells about the challenges he goes through as someone who is converted from being a hip life of secular music to being a preacher, and how difficult it is for him to actually think that, he's now a born again. Yasiki says he's now for the Lord and is no longer into secular music. But Oforiamposa has been in Yasiki's position before, hasn't he?
I've tasted the world. Even though I didn't go that much far, but I've tasted small. And now I'm in the Lord. And I weigh the two and I compare. And I see the reward ahead of me. And I know the reward ahead of worldliness. And the satisfaction in worldliness and the satisfaction in Christ Jesus. Comparing, I'm not going back anymore. See, now I'm not driving a car. I'm not wearing the fancy clothes. I'm not having plenty cash on me. What I have on me is my lawyer to go out and preach and to eat when necessary, and to pay my bills and stuff. But I'm satisfied, I'm fulfilled in the spirit, I'm rich in the spirit. I realize I don't need those things to be happy. My joy, my peace and righteousness are not in the worldly things. That is what I've come to know. You see, and if you come to know, you realize that they are a waste of time and they are useless, trust me.
Have you tried to convert some of your old artist friends?
I went to one of my old places and I met some of the old people there and we spoke. We shared a word of God. One of the musicians actually swept the word. Just like myself back in the days when I used to be in the world in darkness, when I used to sweep the word because when I hear it, I'll be convicted.
The thought of his new life reminds me of another hip life artist who became a courier of the word too, Lord Kenya. Yasiki tells me about his encounter with Pastor Lord Kenya.
I was actually happy and surprised, and it was good to hear from Lord Kenya because I really respect.
What did Lord Kenya tell you?
He encouraged me, that was it. He encouraged me and then said at the right time we'll meet.
You sometimes feel like you become a failure.
Yeah, we are humans, and we can fall. And so Bible even says that take heed, let he who thinks he stand, take heed lest he fall. And because I'm human, I get down. Honestly, I get down. Sometimes I get discouraged.
Preaching in commercial buses and in neighborhoods in Tema has not been smooth for Yasiki. He's had some very challenging and embarrassing moments.
Just this month of January, I came to preach and no one gave me anything. I was a bit down. When I sat in the church and I was down, I had this inspiration. The Holy Spirit inspired me to preach in the church. And then after I preached, a lady just said, "Hi, are you Yasiki?" I was like, "Yeah." I said, "Okay, can I please give you something?" I said, "Okay." And then he gave me 20 cedi.
I guess you're wondering what he makes of his old tunes that are still enjoying airplay in the country.
Anyway, mama de mekanyina and the meji pay. Kawanu tumuna fama me na wuni say. And was some for pada one me boabate. Or pada what me ties for the hour day. But still familiar say hokwe.
Are you okay if you hear them play these songs?
No, I'm not okay. I'm not okay because there are songs that do not bring life to the youth and to the people of Ghana. I actually messaged one of the radio stations because we were following each other on Twitter. And so whenever they play one of my old songs, they tweet at me, they mention me. And so I messaged them and I was like, oh, I have gospel songs now. That is the old me that's passed away.
Since he depends on family and the benevolent society to survive, why won't he consider chasing the royalties his songs may have accrued? If we bring you royalties from these songs, will you take it?
No, I won't take it.
Why?
I won't take it because that money is a fruit of that song. They are worldly songs that lead people away from the will of God.
Do you regret doing those songs now?
Yeah. But you see, God knew what he was doing.
So I'm a permit to be here again in my spirit, I feel it.
It's a sad story.
Yeah, but you know, like he ended. God knew what he was doing with his life.
Exactly.
He knew why he had to take him through that process.
And
I am
hope
so
God
happy.
takes him to his destination.
Exactly. I'm happy that he's alive, and I just pray, and I keep saying, I pray that we don't hear another Oforian Ponton story with Yaosiki.
I don't think so.
Amen.
And I pray too.
Amen. Okay, so I know you remember the song Reggie.
Yeah.
That song is called
Okay.
It features KK Fosu,
Yeah.
and it was recorded somewhere in 2009 thereabout. But Reggie Stone revealed the last night on the Late Night Express with Kofi Lane that actually that song was sung out of a true life experience. His ex-wife was actually getting down with his best friend. All right. So, Aisha, I'm tempted to ask, do you know how to swim?
Yes, but I don't know if I'll be able to do it because it's been a long time.
You don't know how to
if
swim,
I go
Aisha.
to the pool.
You don't know how to swim, Aisha.
I do.
It's been a long time. So
it's been okay. I don't know how to swim.
I was going to bring you Kumahood actor Yao Dabu. He doesn't know how to swim, and he went on set, and he was given a script that he needed to be in a pool. Instead of saying, oh, please, I do not know how to swim.
What?
No, Aisha, why are you laughing at the young man? He decided to prove now that this is make-believe, so I'll make you believe that I know how to swim. Now he jumps into the pool, and he was almost drowning.
Oh, my God.
It took his friends in the industry, likes of Chewa and the other guys who were on set, to get him out of the pool.
Why would he do that to himself?
Exactly, I'm thinking that because, they are living a lie on television or behind the camera, he's thinking that, okay, let me tell those people that I can lie to them that I know how to swim. But he didn't know that. Actually, he is diminutive in nature, like he's a short man. So I think he went to maybe a 5 feet side of the pool. And so he was almost drowning in there. Now let's go to Hollywood. And you know that Will Smith's wife, Jada Pinkett, has said that she's not going for the Oscars. And of course, if your wife says you're not going for the Oscars, would you go for the Oscars, Will Smith? Every time I see Will Smith, I remember Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I think he's growing old now. I see some parts of his...
He's still looking good. He's still
not as I used to feel him, back then when he was a yo-yo guy. I used to see him Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I used to think that was his name, though, how naive and young I was. But the entertainment segment was brought to you by Airtel, the smartphone network. Aisha, I'm receiving my chocolate tomorrow.
And you promised me when you're taking me for swimming, so I can also show you.
I thought some few minutes ago you said you knew how to swim, so you were lying.
No, I'm not lying. Why are you saying that? Let's go. Let me show you. I'm not going to be like the Kumaud guy.
In fact, you will drown.
No, I don't think so. I'll surprise you.
Anyway, see you tomorrow.
So thanks so much for bringing us the entertainment segment. We'll be back with Joy News Prime.
Entertainment news.
So we're on Joy News Prime, and there is some interesting news coming up shortly on the sports segment. Atani Delali is here. Now, let me ask you one thing. Do you remember the age you started journalism?
Well, I was pretty young.
Very young, right? So, are you surprised as a 28-year-old coach?
Well, yeah, not too surprised because of the trends that are happening nowadays.
Why is coaching for old men?
Well, that coach who's made the big record in the Bundesliga after becoming, coach of TSG Hoffenheim used to be a player.
Okay.
And he was getting a lot of knee injuries, because of which now, he has to do his courses and become a coach. So we'll be doing that later on in the bulletin. But let's begin with the National Sports Authority, who have been under the spotlight this week for some, misappropriation of funds that were generated internally. Now, this is contained in a 2011 Auditor General's report, where it was mentioned that the National Sports Authority, disbursed funds generated internally directly rather than going through the standard procedure of lodging the funds with the account of the Auditor General's department. Now, the PRO of the National Sports Authority, Frederica Mensah Davis, has been responding to this and says her outfit has sorted out all there is to be sorted.
It's rather unfortunate that this auditor's report had to be on the airwaves since Monday. And first of all, I would even say that it is dead news, because this audit report had been presented to the Parliament in 2011. We've had the 2012, we've had the 2013, and all those had not been captured, meaning that all those issues that were put across in the 2011 auditor's report have been resolved, raised when auditors question certain things. The best thing is, or the best practice is, to make sure that you improve upon whatever had been done in the previous times or years. So now what we do is, after every match, the sales go straight to the bank before any disbursements are done. So now nobody keeps anything in the NSA. It goes straight to the bank. So that's what we've been doing since 2012.
We'll do some football now, where Ghana Premier League champions Ashanti Gold are ready to face off Bejaya of Algeria as they start off their CAF Champions League campaign this coming Sunday. Our correspondent Delali Emmanuel has been taking a look at the club and their level of preparedness.
Though players and officials of the Boise club are upbeat about their chances in Sunday's match, there appear to be a major on-the-pitch task to accomplish. One of them is how the diminutive Ashgood players will match the tall North Africans. Head coach Bashir Hayford has been sharing his thoughts on the subject.
The only thing is their structure. They are very tall, and then they normally don't put the ball on the ground. They always like area balls. Initially, they like to build the attack from the wings so that they could send the ball in the air for them to, because that is their weapon. All the matches that I've watched, I think that is what they are capable of doing. So in all this, the best antidote is speed. If you can play very fast and listen, by the time they tell you are gone, I don't think there will be any problem.
Club CEO Kojo Fiano has similar sentiments, but he is hopeful the coach will adapt the correct strategies to clear the hurdle.
It's going to be a very tight game. We had the tapes last week when we were traveling to Accra. Both management, technical, and the players, we all watched it whilst we were traveling on the bus.
Skipper of the side, Eric Opoku, says he and his colleagues are very much aware of the task ahead, but they are positive of the outcome.
Well, we will do our best on the field and try to qualify. So we want them to actually support and also encourage us.
We remain with what has to do with the Ghana Premier League, where the subject about talents in the Premier League goes on and on. The latest to join this discussion is Kumasi Asante Kotoko coach David Duncan, who's saying that talents in Premier League clubs across the country are evenly spread.
All the teams have an equal measure of quality players. You take the Kotoko team, for example, local Black Stars setup. A normal local Black Stars setup. How many of them make the cut in it? The rest of them are elsewhere. You know, so I mean, by that benchmark or yardstick, you can't call this team, you know, a finished article or the best, you know, on the local scene and for that matter. We only have to work hard, you know, and
should we
forget about the hype. You know, so you don't expect us back again to the catch-22 situation. You don't expect us to go easy and win the game, get our supporters happy, and at the same time, whilst we are going it at full throttle, players will definitely suffer burnout.
All right, so we tell you about 28-year-old Julian Nagelsmann, who has now landed a job as coach of TSG Hoffenheim in the German Bundesliga. Now, he will go down in history as the youngest coach to take up a substantive coaching role in the top flight of the German league. Now, so he was confirmed, and this young man used to be a footballer, but was having consistent knee injuries, the reason why he decided to switch to coaching, and of course has had some considerable experience behind the scenes as backroom staff with other clubs. Now, this story is on the sports page of myjoyonline.com. Let's now throw the focus on FIFA 2022, the World Cup to be hosted. All right, big sportsmanship from the legends themselves, Kobe Bryant on one side, and of course, King James, the LeBron himself. All right, that's how we wrap it up here on Sports on Joy News Prime. There's more on the sports page of myjoyonline.com. My name is Nathaniel Atto, and I have love for sport.